There would be, yes, and there would be a criteria for that,
Okay.
which I could read off to you, which would be, they would have to attend high school in the state of New York for at least 2 years prior to receiving their degree, graduated from a public or private high school, have at least one parent who has immigrated to the United States, and has resided with a guardian while attending high school here in the state of New York.
And now back to the DREAM Act, and I apologize, I'll jump a little back and forth because we're in together here. The DREAM Act funding, who would be eligible for TAP aid through the DREAM Act? Who is eligible and who is not, or is there?
So right now it doesn't change. It's the same way we have it now. We're just expanding the pool for students who are undocumented to apply.
Okay.
For those that qualify right now for in-state tuition.
Okay.
So we're aligning that with the law that we have now in place with in-state tuition.
And that's the DREAM Act.
That's the DREAM Act.
Now the DREAM Fund, who would be eligible and who would not be eligible? Would there be anyone who is not eligible?
No.
So-
Not for the DREAM Fund. For the DREAM Fund, anyone can apply.
Anyone can apply?
Anyone can apply.
Okay,
Citizens, residents, legal residents can apply.
great. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Goodell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Will you yield, Mr. Moyer?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Moyer yields.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. The people we're talking about that would be eligible for this, you refer to them as, you don't have to be a legal resident in New York, right? That's the whole purpose of this. Does that mean that they're here with a parent or a guardian, either one?
Correct.
And so it is possible they might be here as an undocumented alien, but their parents are not here in New York. Is that correct?
The DREAM Act, yes.
Is there any obligation under this that their parents be a lawful resident of New York State?
No.
Is there any obligation that their guardians be a lawful resident of the United States?
No.
Am I correct then that if you're not a lawful resident of the United States, you're not allowed to work in the United States? Unless you have a green card. So you're either...
Well, we obviously know that's, people work here that don't have, who are undocumented, but they do contribute to the economy here in the state of New York and in this country. What we see here is that we've seen the executive order that the president has given to students right now through DAPA, that gives the students the ability to stay here without fear of deportation, to apply to go to college and be able to work while they're here, while we can figure out a pathway for them to become legal residents of this country.
And of course, you referenced the executive order from the president. That executive order basically said, if I can paraphrase it, that even though you may be here illegally, and even though our laws call for your deportation, the president basically ordered the Justice Department not to deport certain individuals, even though they were in violation of our immigration laws. That's a rough summary.
It gives them temporary status to be to work and study here in this country.
But getting back to my prior question, am I correct that if you're here illegally, you cannot legally work in the United States?
Correct.
And it's illegal to employ someone who's not legally a resident, correct?
Correct.
And we base the amount of the TAP award based on reported income of either the applicant or their parent or guardian?
Correct.
And so if they report any income, then they're violating the laws that prohibit their employment. And of course, those laws were designed to protect U.S. workers and those who are here legally. And if they don't report any income, then they would be eligible for the maximum TAP benefit. Is Is that correct? I understand that's a two-part question.
Got it. So any income that is reported is kept confidential. But we also have individuals who are undocumented here who have tax IDs, who have worked in this country, who are working here in the state of New York with tax IDs, who are paying their taxes. As a matter of fact, the report in 2010 reported that immigrants actually paid $160 million to the economy here in this country. New York being the fourth largest state to receive taxes from undocumented workers here in the United States.
And you're referring, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to taxes that would include sales tax, possibly property taxes,
Correct.
taxes that, but not income taxes.
Some do who have tax IDs.
Well, you only have a tax ID if, a tax ID number doesn't authorize you to work in the United States.
Correct.
Okay. So the difference between an undocumented individual who's working in the United States and a U.S. resident who's working in New York State is that the New York resident pays property taxes, sales tax, federal income tax, state income tax, and any other taxes that we impose upon them, whereas an undocumented alien or immigrant would not necessarily pay any New York State taxes or any federal income taxes, correct?
Correct. But we also have a lot of U.S. citizens and legal residents that don't pay taxes. But this bill right here is only aligning itself with the in-state tuition law that we have right now. If they do not meet the financial threshold, they do not qualify. So they would not be receiving any TAP award if they can't prove that they've made or are earning a certain income per year. If they're not meeting that threshold, they will not be qualified to receive any type of tuition assistance.
Okay. Now, we have, of course, a lot of foreign students that are attending New York schools. In fact, nationally, I think there's over 644,000 student visas, I think of as of last year. The difference between those student visas and this program that you're envisioning is that one of the requirements of a student visa is that the individual, upon completion of their studies here in New York, they're obligated to go back to their home country and use their knowledge and expertise and hopefully their education to benefit their home country. There's no obligation under this act, is there, that any of these individuals who are not lawfully in the United States be required to go back to their home country and benefit their own home country?
So they
By
actually
home
have
country, I mean the country in which they're a legal resident.
Well, I'd like to just be clear. Most of these kids have come here at a very, very early age. They know no other country but ours. The fact is that in this bill, we actually specify that they would actually have to sign an affidavit saying that they would stay here in the state of New York, making sure that they will work in the state and legalize their status. We want to make sure that the people that we're educating here are going to stay here and be part of our economy in the future. And
I appreciate that, but until they have legal status, they're still not allowed to work in New York, are they?
We're not, but if they do fall under DACA, they are allowed to go to school and work for the remainder of the time period that they fall under the executive order.
I see.
Which would give them time, and hopefully we could get some real comprehensive immigration reform at the federal level that puts them on a pathway to citizenship.
Now, you say they have to sign an affidavit that they'll stay in New York?
Legalize their status, I'm sorry. That would legalize their status.
Okay. Because, as you know, you cannot restrict
Yes,
somebody's
I'm sorry.
transportation.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying
Yeah.
that. On the bill. Thank you, Mr.
On the bill, Mr. Goodell.
This is an interesting bill because we say we want to use tax dollars, New York tax dollars that are generated from New York income tax and other sources to provide tuition assistance to illegal immigrants whose parents, many of whom are also here illegally, cannot lawfully work in New York State or in the nation, for that matter. So if they've been here a number of years, they either have a wealthy beneficiary who's been covering their expenses while they're here, or they're working under the table and engaged in tax evasion, tax fraud. The amount of the TAP award is based on the parent's income. So if you don't report any income because you're engaged in tax evasion or tax fraud, then the eligibility under this program would be much higher than if you're the son or daughter of a lawful New York resident who's properly reporting their income and properly paying their taxes. I think we have a serious problem on a public policy perspective when we say that if you're violating multiple laws, we'll give you the maximum benefit. But if you're complying with everything, then you won't be eligible for as much. And that's just not good public policy. And I share, I'm sure, the concerns of many of my colleagues here about the inadequacies and shortcomings of our immigration system. And indeed, I started my professional career in immigration law, where I dealt with many of these issues. But our immigration law recognizes that if you're from another country and you want to come and study in New York State, we welcome you. And we have over 644,000 student visas in our country. But those students follow the rules. Those students have a sponsor. Those students agree they will return to their home country. And it's great that they agree to do so, because then we're helping the rest of the world improve. So now we deal with two sets of students. One set of students follows the law, follows the rules, agrees to help the rest of the world improve. And we have a second group whose parents violated the law, whose parents are engaged most likely in tax evasion, who aren't making any commitment to help anybody else, who can't work here lawfully. And for those students that are violating all the rules, we say, congratulations, you're eligible for the maximum benefit. Not a good policy. So maybe we need to focus on straightening out our immigration law and addressing some of these issues. But in the meantime, we need to be sensitive about being fair to the lawful sons and daughters of New York residents who are paying their full and fair share of taxes. And we need to be sensitive about being fair and equitable to foreign students who come here and comply with all those rules as well. For those reasons, I will be voting against the DREAM Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Mr. Moya, will you yield?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Moya yields.
So, Mr. Moya, in this legislation, is there any path to citizenship in this legislation?
No, that's up to the federal government.
Okay. And the executive order, could you help explain that to me a little bit? The impact of the executive order, the intent and purpose and impact?
I'm sorry?
Could you explain the President's executive order a little bit? My understanding is that this is, in your opinion, helping justify or helping provide a base for your request through this legislation.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that that's helping this at all. I'm saying that
I'm just trying to understand if you can help me.
through the process.
I can't hear you, Mr. Moya.
Through the process, we've been passing this bill for the last 4 or 5 years. the president has put in an executive order that would allow undocumented students the ability to stay here temporarily, to be able to work and go to school without fear of deportation.
So, Mr. Moya, if I may, Mr. Speaker, if the sponsor will continue to yield.
Yes.
Mr. Moya, just a question for you, if I may. So, in your opinion, when you look at student aid and the availability of aid, do you feel that our existing population, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender, regardless of socioeconomic status, but I guess I would focus primarily on lower economic status, socioeconomic status, do you feel that there is sufficient aid available to residents of the United States at present?
No, I think that we need to be doing a lot more, and I think that one of the things that we've been doing is taking a look at how we can help students right now, both documented and legal residents and U.S. citizens. As a matter of fact, I have a bill that I've introduced that would allow to bring back graduate TAP for people who are going to graduate school. So I think that we have a lot that we can cover, but we can do multiple things simultaneously to help a broad base of young students who want to come here and get an education where we can build for our future economy by helping these students who, by the way, we pay for their education from kindergarten all the way to high school, to say now, at the most critical juncture in their academic careers, to say, wait, sorry, you can't apply for any type of assistance.
Thank you, and I understand your point, and again, emotionally, I think all of us are there. I think all of us understand, and we all subscribe in this chamber to the issue of lifting people up. And you and I have had conversations. I've had conversations in this chamber. I come from poverty. My father, in a nursing home fighting cancer, living on Social Security, born in Puerto Rico, has nothing. He's fighting for his life with cancer. His granddaughter, Stephanie Lopez, in severe student debt, now serving in Okinawa in the U.S. Air Force to pay off student loans because there was not enough aid for her to assist her with her educational pursuit. And that's just one sideshow, but my emphasis being that we have friends, neighbors, your constituents, my neighbors, my constituents, rural Appalachia, inner city, who all have this dream. So there is a dream, and the dream is part of who we are, and we want to promote a dream. But my question is, how can we justify that when we can't even feed the mouths of those who are here as citizens legally? How can we justify, we provide health care, my understanding, we provide basic education. How can we, in all good conscience, move forward and provide advanced degrees, advanced education to these undocumented individuals? And God bless you for your support of this. And
Mr. Ramos, why do you rise?
No, I'm not going to yield. And
Mr. Lopez will not
and
yield.
actually, Mr. Speaker, and go on the bill.
On the bill, Mr.
And I don't
Lopez.
need another member to come and caution me and tell me that my ethnicity and my background is suspect because I take a different opinion. I've had that happen before. It's very insulting and demeaning and really inappropriate. So I'm just going to save you the time, my colleague, because I come from Puerto Rico. The blood is in my veins. My father would be the first to say, earn it. My father would be the first to say, come here as a U.S. citizen. He would be the first to defend my daughter in the
Mr.
military.
Ramos, why do you rise?
Speaker, Mr. Lopez is
I have not
addressing me.
mentioned the name.
He is addressing me. May
I
I
have not
answer?
Gentlemen,
mentioned the name.
gentlemen, shh.
There is no name mentioned.
Mr.
simply
Lopez, 1
preempting.
minute, please. So,
My Latino blood is
Mr.
boiling,
Lopez,
Mr.
1
Speaker.
minute. You're on the bill.
I am on the bill,
So
and I'm speaking
stay
on the bill.
please.
So speaking on the bill,
Yes, sir.
as a member of this House, and as someone who is half Puerto Rican, who values his descent and values being a Latino, I cannot support a bill where our own do not have the resources to get by, where we have 20 million Americans living with their parents because they can't afford their bills on their education. So this bill is well intended. We are compassionate, we are humane, we are providing health care, we are providing basic education, but there has to be a line drawn. And there has to be acknowledgement, which is not happening in this chamber, that there has to be a pathway to citizenship. This coming Friday, I will be in Kingston. Well, I will celebrate the naturalization ceremony, and many of my colleagues who are nearby celebrate as well. They take an oath of allegiance. They take an oath of allegiance to this country, to support its Constitution, to support its defense. That is not happening as we confer benefits to these other people. Find a pathway to citizenship. I'm happy to be part of that conversation, happy to be part of an intelligent, thoughtful process. Pardon my volume, I'll try to control it, but the Latino in me is a little upset here. To be part of a process that rationalizes our resources, rationalizes our priorities, puts in perspective who we are as a society and where our people should be. So my standing question is, what about the dreams of the American citizens who are denied access to higher education, who are denied the benefit of a better life because they can't get the resources? Yet we're going to take those resources, 27 million, sounds modest, and the discussion was modified, well, it was very genteel and very much on the fact, but there is an emotional side. And the right side is, we come in, we find a way to help support people compassionately, but we don't continue to provide benefits when our own citizens, and you know this, I don't have to tell you, I live in poverty, I grew up in poverty, I have neighbors who live in trailers with raw sewer running out of their homes, who have no hope, have no future. I get it. But we're not getting it with this bill, and we keep bringing it back year after year after year. Let's have an intelligent conversation about citizenship. Let's have an intelligent conversation about framing young people to become citizens and supporters of our Constitution. And stop saying that we're diminishing the dreams of people because we're not even taking care of the dreams of our own children, of our own neighbors. So let's be intelligent about this. Let's be thoughtful about this and stop saying that the people who deny it are bad people, or the people who deny it are not defending their cultural heritage. Stop it. Just stop it. Mr. Speaker, the bill, well intended, has a serious flaw. There is no path to citizenship. There is no rationalizing of priorities for American citizens and support of them on our soil. The bill is flawed. I oppose it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Barron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, there's no more passionate, reasonable, intelligent bill than this one. $27 million, please. $27 million. If this state can't afford to fulfill the dreams of its citizens, can't afford to fulfill the dreams of tax-paying citizens, then don't blame undocumented immigrants. There's something wrong with the 1% in this state. So when we look at a bill where you have undocumented immigrants that pay $500 for a tax ID number to pay taxes, and then if you add up some of those numbers, it is more than enough to see that these undocumented, not illegal aliens, we're not talking about people from outer space that came here illegally. We're talking about undocumented human beings. By the way, if we get in the history of this country to see how wealth was accumulated around Mexico and other places, and Arizona and other places in this country, and even the poor indigenous people who are on reservations in this country, as it accumulated wealth of the land that they stole from people. So let's be honest. If we want to have an honest conversation, an intelligent conversation, it goes beyond this argument here. It goes way beyond it. It goes on beyond this, and it heads toward greed. Greed at the top. There's more than enough in this budget, $156 billion, and we're talking about some chump change that would help people fulfill a dream. I think this is an intelligent bill. I think it's the right bill. I think it's a no-brainer. It's something that can be done easily. And we benefit when we include immigrants in the culture of this state. The intellectual capital increases, the capital itself increases, talent increases, opportunity increases for more people, and don't pit folk who are citizens and this state and this nation doesn't take care of their business. Don't blame undocumented immigrants as the ones that's stopping people from getting their dreams, and you're pitting that money against money that citizens should get. I think it's a bill. I think we should all vote on it. I think some of the things I hear is incredible, and it's an argument that's been laid out for a long time. I think it's self-righteous to talk about what you don't think undocumented immigrants should get, and you sit back here and protect a greedy capitalist system that exploits to get its riches, but you're going to sit here and talk about undocumented immigrants as though they're messing up the whole economy. They're denying an opportunity for all the citizens who are taxpayers. And you have the richest country in the world, one of the richest states in the union. New York City is one of the richest cities in the world. But these undocumented immigrants are stopping tax-paying citizens from getting an opportunity to further their dreams. Please, you cannot be for real. That is not a real argument. That's a figment of people's imagination. It's just some people say this routinely every time this bill comes up. It's almost like a tape recorder rap that we hear every time it comes up. You can almost predict what's going to be said, and it's not based in reality. Reality is these immigrants are not stopping anybody's dream. These immigrants are not hurting the economy. They're adding to it intellectually and financially. So I think that we should finally pass this again in a big way and struggle with the Senate to do the same thing. Thank you.
Ms. Malliotakis.
On the bill, Mr. Speaker?
On the bill, Ms. Malliotakis.
You know, I think it's an insult to the citizens of the state of New York, to the legal residents of the state of New York, that we keep bringing this legislation every single year, time and again. At least this year it only came up once, because last year it came up about 3 times that we had to sit here and debate this bill. There's $1.3 trillion in college debt throughout this country. Here in the state of New York, $26,000 is the average debt, and that's only for college. We're not talking about graduate studies. I have 2 pieces of legislation that keep getting held in committee while this bill comes to the floor for a debate and a vote. My bills would help citizens and legal residents. One would increase the tapped eligibility threshold for our families from the current $80,000 household income to $100,000 household income. It has not been increased since the year 2000. 16 years this legislature has sat here and has done nothing to increase the tapped income eligibility for our families that we have been voted here to represent, and yet this bill comes up to the floor that would help illegal immigrants. It makes absolutely no sense. And it's insulting on top of it that in 2010, this body voted to stop tuition assistance program for graduate students. If you're a graduate student here in the state of New York, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you get absolutely no assistance from TAP. None. You don't qualify for the program at all. And that program costs about $3 million a year. Just a small fraction of what this bill would cost. So I think we as a body really need to get our priorities in order. It is a complete disgrace that we're sitting here voting to give more benefits to illegal immigrants while citizens can't afford to pay for college. And I don't think that's something that the citizens who elected you to represent them and serve their interests had in mind when they sent you here to Albany. And so look, I'm the daughter of immigrants. I understand the aspirations of the American dream just like anyone else in this room. But I think we need to have priorities when it comes to what taxpayer money should be going for. And when we have countless families in our districts that are struggling with debt, families that are working multiple jobs to put their children through school, students who are going to school part-time because I got to work full-time to pay their tuition. This is backwards. This is misguided, and I will continue to vote against it. I will continue to oppose it, and I will continue to urge my colleagues to vote against this. Thank you.
Mr. Ramos.
Mr. Speaker, on the bill, I would like to commend the sponsor of this bill. This is a humane bill, and I believe in the spirit, in the American spirit. It is what we are all about as a country, to be humane, especially to young people. I can't think of any justification for punishing a young person for something, even if you disagree with what the parent did, or punishing them for something that their parent did. And we heard over here, why would we reward somebody who was unlawful? We heard that. I would love to know what a 5-year-old consciously did that was unlawful, that he should be deprived, that we should marginalize him in our policy, American policy, marginalize him for life. In the end, if we increase the earning power, he or she benefits American citizens by extra spending power, by purchasing, by adding to the economic development. My ancestors would roll over in their grave. As a Puerto Rican son of immigrants, if I stood here and said that a law that was created that allowed me and my family to come here as a Puerto Rican, that no other Latino should have that privilege, and that there's not enough for them, there was only enough for us. It's shameful that 25 million immigrants, European immigrants, came to this country in the early part of the 1900s. Not one of them needed a visa. And that's fine. That's the American spirit, the American dream, the American history. The undocumented today didn't break the law. The law broke them because the law was changed for them. The descendants of the 25 million Europeans, some of them, here today we hear saying that others should not get any kind of privilege, that somehow it's bad. How could I, as a Puerto Rican, say that the law that allowed my family to come here, thrive, be part of the fabric of this state, of this country, allowed me to be a state assemblyman, that law, even though it was changed in regards to my people, the fact that the president changed the law that now opened up a space for some young people now, how could I say that it was all right for me and my people and not good for somebody else? The Puerto Rican development, we see the level of development where when we were marginalized in the beginning, the immigrant experience, we were poor, we came here today, we're elected officials, we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're everything. We've gone through the American assimilation, the American experience. It has benefited the fabric of American society. This idea that anybody who comes here is taking away and our problems are because somebody else is causing them, all it does is divide us as a country. And
Mr. McLaughlin, why do you rise?
Mr. Speaker, will Mr. Ramos yield?
Will you yield?
I certainly will. Let me just finish my phrase.
Not at the moment, Mr.
I just want to add, I just want to add that many who are talking about these people who are here illegally and they're not supposed to work. If you drive through any wealthy or middle-class neighborhood, where I live on Long Island, you will find hundreds mowing lawns, not Hispanic lawns, mowing lawns and working as landscapers in those very wealthy communities of some of the people who are saying that they shouldn't be here. So a lot of this discussion here is just so hypocritical, a double standard, different laws for different groups. The laws of citizenship have never been the same. Africans came here, they were forced to immigrate here, and they didn't get the rights of American citizens. With the Operation Wetback in California, they deported Mexicans that were born in the United States. The Asian Exclusion Act prevented Asians from being American citizens. And we're here today talking about how this is unfair, that these children should go by the same rules as everybody else, when the same rules have not been applied to people of color. I will yield. I'll certainly yield, Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Ramos, yield.
Thanks, Mr. Ramos. I appreciate your passion on this. I'm just wondering, what law are you talking about that's been changed? I think all we're saying, or those of us that don't support this bill is saying, is come here but do it legally. So what law are you referencing that's been changed? Our
25 million
immigration laws?
European immigrants came to this country. No visa was required. They came to Ellis Island. A doctor looked in their mouth with a flashlight. If they were not sick, they were allowed in.
Right, they were allowed in.
Right, they were allowed in
Okay.
because there was no law against it. When people of color in mass started to immigrate, they started a visa system. And the first rule they came out with was you had to have family here in order to get more family here.
I see what you're
That
saying.
bolstered the numbers of the European immigrant and marginalized the immigrant of color.
But the fact is, the folks that came through Ellis Island at that time, that was the legal way to immigrate into the country, right? That's how they did it.
So the law, the immigrants today, you keep talking about how they broke the law. The law broke them because you're applying a different standard to and then you're standing here saying they should go by the same rules as everybody else.
But the law changed, Mr. Ramos, and it applies to everybody, whether you're a Canadian or a Hispanic or whatever, wherever you're coming from. The law now applies equally across the board, does it not? It's no different for anybody else. Yes, the law changed, but so did the
Do you
SAFE
think
Act,
a
by the way.
person from Europe
That
has
changed
any
law.
trouble getting a visa to come to the United States?
I'm sorry, say again,
Do
sir.
you think a person from England has any trouble getting a visa to come to the United States?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I've seen it. I have a friend of mine whose wife is Ukrainian. She's been stuck in the Ukraine for over a year and a half. She can't get a visa to come in, so the law does apply
Think a
equally.
Canadian has trouble coming to the United States?
Absolutely. They do have trouble. You're telling me that there's a racist policy in place and that only Hispanic people have trouble coming
There is
in?
no doubt that our immigration policy has been disparate against people of color.
But that isn't the point here. The point here is that across the board, the policy is applied equally now, is it not?
No.
Well, okay, but wait a minute.
According to your time clock, it's now. All right, let's isolate this time period
Well, go
when
back.
it has never applied equally.
You can go back
people of color.
decades. Decades. This isn't today we're talking about.
Your
This goes back
expiration date
decades.
always seems to come when it applies to people of color.
When did this, you got to be kidding me. When did this suddenly occur? When, in your opinion, as soon as the Hispanics started immigrating, it occurred?
Let me ask you something. When have African Americans had the rights of citizens?
When they come here legally.
When they come here legally.
Same as anyone else.
Do you feel that all the way through the 60s and 80s, African Americans have had the same rights as U.S. citizens?
What? Say again? I couldn't hear you.
Do you feel that African Americans have had the same rights in American policy as U.S. citizens?
Not for our entire history, but we fixed that. We changed that, did we not?
Yes. And
Okay.
we're changing laws now, and you're objecting to that.
So the law can never change, what you're saying.
The president is accommodating young people out of humanity, and there's objection to that.
I object to people breaking the law to begin their
What
life
law has
here
a
in America.
5-year-old broken?
It's not the 5-year-old. That's a
But
canard.
that's what you're punishing.
That's a canard. They're educated. They're not denied the chance to go to school. But why should legal citizens, legal, and everybody likes to say undocumented immigrants, they are illegal immigrants. They are not here legally because when they're here legally, they're called citizens. Right? So this undocumented
The
immigrants is a
descendant
nice.
of somebody who came here undocumented is an illegal to you.
If they're undocumented, they're illegal. It's a nice politically correct term you like to throw around that they're undocumented.
You live
that
in New
means
York.
illegal.
What part of the Iroquois Nation are you from?
Excuse me?
What part of the Iroquois-
Gentlemen, shh. So let's try to settle down to question and answer.
I'm trying.
You
I
are-
just couldn't hear him.
I understand. I'm talking to both of you.
Yep.
Question and answer.
Go ahead.
Well, you say that the descendant of somebody who came here
Yeah.
undocumented without permission should not get privileges, should not be accommodated. So I'm asking you, what part of you live in New York? What part of the Iroquois Nation are you from?
Wait a minute. Let's back that up a little bit, too. All of the Native Americans emigrated from Europe to begin with across the land bridge.
Oh, God.
Did they not? They just happened to get here first, but they emigrated across the land bridge.
Oh, it's almost psychotic, this debate.
They did. I mean, is that historically inaccurate, Mr. Ramos? Did they not emigrate from the European continent across a land bridge that used to exist? That's a historical fact.
I see. And who'd they take it away from?
Who, what?
Who'd they take it away from if they immigrated here? Well, I mean, since we're going back to the caveman times,
That has
you know,
nothing to Listen, we're off track. That has nothing to do with this argument to begin with.
You're the one who brought this up.
So I guess your opinion is you don't like the law because it changed, but then the law changed to allow legal immigrants. You're all over the place with that.
It
Yet,
keeps changing when it comes to immigrants of color.
how does it keep
And
changing? When is the last significant immigration change, other than we seem to ignore our immigration laws at this point for certain segments, I guess? I have friends that can't get in from Canada. I have a friend of mine's wife can't get in from the Ukraine. She can't come in. She's not coming in illegally. She's waiting in the Ukraine for a really long time to be able to join her husband, who is an American citizen.
You must not be familiar with the immigration system if you believe that Europeans have the same obstacles to come here on a tourist visa that people from Mexico and other countries.
But wait a minute. They're trying to come on a tourist visa. So wait a minute. So if they don't get the tourist visa, it's okay to break into our country. It's okay to just illegally come into our country. What's the point? What's the point, Mr. Ramos?
The point is that there should be a progressive immigration system that's fair. You're talking about the same rules, that has the same rules for everybody.
It does. It does. And what is the point of having borders at all? Should we just get rid of those?
No, we should have borders.
Why? We don't enforce them. It doesn't matter.
Because if we had a progressive immigration system, there would be an orderly way for people to immigrate. But the first, as I said before, after those 25 million European immigrants came, the first rule was you had to have family here. So 25 million European immigrants were able to double their numbers. But somebody coming from the first generation, coming from any other country, especially ones of color, was not able to come here and immigrate.
So, but that gives them an excuse to break the law.
Modern-day racism is done with a calculator. Right? And this is the way it's been done for a while. And this is another case here where you keep saying, well, the rules now, let's go by the rules now. Yesterday didn't count. Tomorrow doesn't count. But whenever it's skewed against one particular group of minorities, then it's like,
this is not against any particular group, because if you're a Russian illegal immigrant here, I don't want you getting in-state tuition and all this DREAM Act stuff either.
disproportionately, who is it affecting?
I'm sorry. Oh, disproportionately, because that's
Who are the largest number of immigrants in this country?
You mean illegal? Illegal immigrants that you're talking about? The largest number of illegal immigrants? Those would be the Hispanics that are coming up from Mexico.
You use what I consider a racist word. I don't use the word illegal.
What's racist? Illegal?
I consider a person is undocumented.
You can consider it whatever you want. Are they here legally or not?
Gentlemen, I'm sure the halls of Congress would love this conversation. However, we're trying to
Mr.
focus
Speaker,
on a bill.
You can't throw out the word. You can't just call me racist and expect me not to respond to it.
Mr. McLaughlin, the gentleman said he considered the word racist. He didn't call you a racist.
And I said the word.
I understand, but saying a word doesn't make you something.